In a fancy neighborhood in Tampa, 18-year-old Linda Smith stood by the window on the third floor of her family's six-story home. The sky was turning purple as the day ended, and the headlights of expensive cars lit up the street below. Her phone buzzed. It was a message from her best friend, Jennifer. "Linda, this is serious. Did the police contact you? Your parents are really worried. Please answer." Linda stared at her screen, confused. The police? Her parents were worried? She didn't understand. More messages came in. "Is it true you're missing? Where are you? Everyone is looking for you." Her hands started to shake. A chill ran through her body. She was here. She had been staying at the house all week since her parents didn't let her go with them to their wedding. She quickly replied, "Jennifer, what are you talking about? I'm here." Right away, her phone rang. Jennifer's voice was shaky. "What? But your parents reported you missing. Haven't you seen Instagram?" Linda quickly opened Instagram. What she saw shocked her. There was a family photo taken at a luxury resort in Mexico. Blue skies, palm trees, everyone dressed perfectly. Her mom wore a stylish summer dress. Her dad was in a neat linen suit. Her sister Betty had on a designer dress, and her brother Austin wore a trendy suit. It looked like a perfect family vacation. But the caption from her mom said, "Our beloved daughter Linda is missing. This special day is filled with mixed emotions. We are working with the police and praying for her safety." Linda's vision blurred. She felt sick. Her legs were weak, and she leaned against a fancy chair by the window. She looked around the room. White walls, designer furniture, and a huge bookshelf. She was really here. But the world thought she was missing. The house felt a little cold, even though it was beautiful. It was filled with memories from Linda's 18 years of life. But this same house became the reason her parents gave for not wanting her at their wedding. It all began one morning in April during breakfast. Linda's usually cheerful mom had big news. After living together for 26 years without getting married, her parents had finally decided to have a real wedding. "It's going to be in Mexico," her mom, Emily, said with excitement. "It'll be a small but beautiful ceremony." She turned to Linda's older sister. "Betty, I want you to be my maid of honor." Betty cheered. "Mom, it's going to be amazing. We'll make sure everything is perfect. Your dress, your hair, your makeup." Then Linda's dad, Brandon, looked at her older brother. "Austin, will you be my best man?" "Of course, Dad. I'd be honored." But no one looked at Linda. At the big, fancy dining table, there were 6 family members, but only 4 were actually talking. Linda sat there quietly, almost invisible. It had always been this way. Her sister and brother were the stars of the family, the ones their parents were proud of. Linda was just average, no special talents, nothing that stood out. Compared to her siblings, she seemed unimportant. Over time, Linda got used to feeling like she didn't matter. As the wedding plans moved ahead, her mom and Betty often went shopping together for dresses. They looked more like close friends than mother and daughter. Her dad and Austin went to a high-end tailor for tuxedos. Austin even helped plan the honeymoon and talked about luxury cars with his dad. The living room filled up with wedding brochures, flight details, and notes from the wedding planner. Every conversation was about the wedding. These white roses would look great at the venue. Let's go with French and Italian food. We already have over 170 guests. Linda just sat and listened. She hoped someone might notice her. But no one ever did. At one point, someone brought up the idea of a flower girl. For a second, it seemed like they might pick Linda. But then her sister said, "Carol would be perfect." Carol was Betty's 4-year-old daughter. "Yes, she'll be so cute," someone said. "She's the perfect age. Everyone will want to take pictures of her." And just like that, Linda was forgotten again. When Linda's grandmother, Laura, suggested that Linda read a poem at the wedding, her parents said no right away. "We want a simple ceremony," her mother said. "No need for extra performances," her father added. Linda understood what they really meant. They thought she wasn't needed. One evening in September, her father called out, "Linda, can I talk to you for a minute?" In the living room, her mother was looking at pictures of the wedding venue on an expensive tablet. When Linda walked in, her mom turned off the screen. "There's something we need to discuss about the wedding," her mother said, choosing her words carefully while sitting on a leather sofa.
She paused.
"We think it's better if you don't come." Linda froze. She couldn't believe what she just heard. The room, full of fancy furniture, suddenly felt cold. "What do you mean?" she asked. "The wedding is going to be very classy," her mother said, moving her toes across a soft Persian carpet. "You're not really good with those kinds of events, are you?" "Not good with it?" Linda's voice shook. The chandelier above her felt too bright. "You don't want me there?" Her father cleared his throat from his big leather armchair. "You wouldn't fit in, not like Betty or Austin. You'd be uncomfortable." "But I'm your daughter," Linda said, her voice echoing in the large room. "Exactly," her mother replied while playing with her expensive necklace. "We don't want to put you in a difficult spot." At that moment, something inside Linda broke. It felt like her family, the one she had been part of for 18 years, was falling apart. "Difficult? You mean embarrassing," she said, raising her voice. She looked at the family photos on the walls. Suddenly, they didn't feel real. "I embarrass you?" "Not like that," her mother said quickly, nervously touching her bracelet. "Then what do you mean?" Linda asked, her voice full of hurt. "You're not inviting your own daughter to your wedding. How does that make sense?" Her father's voice turned firm. "Linda, don't be selfish." "Selfish." Linda gave a bitter laugh. Her eyes landed on the perfect family photo above the fireplace. It looked like a fake image of happiness. "Wanting to be at my parents' wedding is selfish?" Her mother sighed. "You always make things harder. You never try to understand us. This wedding is very important." Linda's voice trembled. "I've spent 18 years trying to understand you. Have you ever tried to understand me even once?" After that night, Linda stayed in her room. Even though it was large and filled with expensive furniture, designer lights, and the latest audio gear, she felt smaller and smaller inside. Linda had everything she could ever need: fancy clothes, nice food, a big room. But one thing was missing: love. The housekeeper, Amy, brought her meals to her room every day. Amy looked at her with kindness, but she never said anything. From her window, Linda watched her family getting ready for the wedding. Her mom and Betty came home carrying shopping bags full of designer clothes. Her dad and Austin went out in a luxury car for tuxedo fittings. Relatives and family friends kept arriving at the house. But no one came to her room. No one knocked. The day before the trip, Linda gathered the courage to ask her mom one last time. "Mom, am I really not allowed to come to the wedding?" Her mom didn't even look up from the book she was reading while sitting in a chair by the window.
"No."
"We didn't even buy you a plane ticket." They hadn't forgotten. There just wasn't a ticket for her. From the beginning, they had never planned for her to be part of it. The next morning, the family left early. Linda watched from her third-floor window as their suitcases were packed into a fancy taxi. Her mom wore a stylish designer suit. Her dad had on a custom-made tie. Betty was dressed in a famous brand's gown, and Austin looked sharp in a classy outfit. They looked like a perfect family in a magazine photo. But Linda wasn't part of it. No one looked up. No one said goodbye. It was like she had never been there at all. After they left, photos started showing up on social media. A private beach at a luxury resort in Mexico. Spending the best time with my family. A celebration at a 7-star hotel. Enjoying every moment with my loved ones. Tomorrow is our big day. The comments poured in. "What a beautiful family. This is the kind of family I dream of having. You all look so happy together." Linda stared at her expensive phone. There was her family, smiling, laughing, looking perfect in fancy clothes at a beautiful place. But there was no sign of her. It was like she didn't exist. The meals Amy brought her stayed untouched. Her big, fancy room felt more and more empty. Time passed slowly. Then, a week after the wedding, her phone rang. "Linda, did the police contact you?" Jennifer's voice was full of worry. "Your parents are really concerned. Please answer me." Linda's voice shook. "Police? What are you talking about?" "What? You don't know?" Jennifer said. "Your parents reported you missing." Haven't you seen Instagram? Everyone's worried. Linda's hands shook as she opened the app. As she scrolled, she saw post after post. Then she saw her mother's message. Our youngest daughter is missing. This special day is full of mixed emotions. We are working with the police and praying for her safe return. Please pray for Linda. To our beloved daughter, come home soon. The comments were full of concern.
I'm so sorry.
I hope she's found soon. Did the police find any clues? How heartbreaking, especially on such a happy day. Linda stared at the screen in shock. Her mind went blank. Her stomach turned, and she felt like she might fall right there on the floor. They knew she was home. They knew she was in this room. They had left her behind, and now they were lying. The soft evening light came through the window. Linda stood up. This lie from her parents wasn't just about today. It was the result of 18 years of being ignored and left out. She started to plan carefully. First, she took the day's newspaper and placed it somewhere the date could be clearly seen. Then she took a selfie in her room, with the sunset behind her through the window. Her face was calm. Next, she started to write her post. I am not missing. I'm in my room at home in Tampa. My parents know I'm here. They didn't let me come to the wedding. They told me I didn't fit in. They didn't buy me a plane ticket. They didn't get a dress for me. And now they are lying, saying I'm missing. This is the truth. The sad truth behind the perfect image they show the world. She paused and took a deep breath. Then, with one tap, she ended 18 years of silence. She pressed post. The reaction came fast. Within 40 minutes, her inbox was full. Friends and family messaged. Linda, is this true? This is awful. Do you need anything? How can I help? Even strangers reached out. Her post was spreading quickly, shared with hashtags like. Then came 25 missed calls from her mother. Her voice messages were panicked. Linda, what are you doing? Please delete this. Think about how this makes us feel. Messages came from her siblings and father, too. Just after midnight, Linda got a call. It was from her grandmother, Laura. Her voice was soft and warm, like always. But this time, there was a calm strength in it. I saw everything, Linda, she said. I saw the posts, the comments, and the missing person report. Tears streamed down Linda's face. Gran, You've done well, sweetheart, her grandmother said gently. You've gone through this alone for 18 years. That's enough now. But I'm only 18. And they're my parents, Linda said, her voice shaking. Don't worry about the legal stuff, her grandmother said with calm strength. I've already talked to your Uncle Dylan. He's made arrangements with a lawyer. Really? Linda asked, a small bit of hope starting to grow inside her.
Yes.
That missing person report was the final straw, her grandmother said. This isn't just a family problem anymore. It's clearly abuse. The court will take your side. The next morning, her grandmother gave her a clear plan. At 1 p.m. the day after tomorrow, Dylan and I will come to pick you up. Just pack the essentials. Don't forget important things like your passport, insurance card, and school records. Linda quietly started to pack. Packing up 18 years of life wasn't easy, but in the end, there weren't many things she truly needed. On the day they promised to come, just as her parents' taxi pulled up to the house, fresh from their trip to Mexico, a surprise was waiting. Laura, her grandmother, and Uncle Dylan were standing at the front door with a lawyer in a gray suit. Her parents froze in shock. Mom, Emily's voice shook. Why are you here? We came to find our missing granddaughter, Laura replied, her voice sharp and cold. Brandon stepped forward. This is a family matter. Outsiders. Outsiders? Laura interrupted. Who lied and told the police their daughter was missing? She pulled out a stack of papers. Here is proof Linda was in her room the whole time. Testimony from the housekeeper, Amy included. Her parents' faces went pale. Linda, come down, Laura called. Linda slowly walked down the stairs, carrying a suitcase and a small bag. Her whole life, 18 years, was packed in those bags. What are you doing? Her father demanded. His fancy suit was wrinkled, his collar messy. Posting something so shameful online. What were you thinking? Linda looked him straight in the eye, her voice shaking but firm. Was my post shameful? Or is it more shameful that my parents lied and said I was missing? We were thinking about you, Emily tried to say. Tears ran down her sun-kissed cheeks. Thinking about me? Linda raised her voice. You left me behind. You told people I disappeared. The grand front hall went completely silent. The crystal chandelier above them gave off a cold light. Why? Linda asked softly. Why did you say I was missing? Emily looked nervous. She held her expensive purse tightly. It was about appearances, she finally said. How could we tell people our daughter didn't want to come? What would that do to our reputation? Linda's voice cracked. Didn't want to come? You never let me. You excluded me. You've always been different. Emily shouted. You never try to be like Betty and Austin. You're always alone. Always choosing your own path. So that makes it okay to erase me? Linda asked quietly. No one answered. The shadows on the marble floor grew longer as evening came. Linda, let's go, Laura said gently. Linda picked up her luggage and walked toward the front door. Emily suddenly called out in a panic. Wait, she rushed forward, her high heels clicking loudly on the floor. You're still a minor. You can't just. That's enough, Laura said calmly. The lawyer stepped forward and held out some papers. These are documents for the court, he said clearly. We have proof of abuse and neglect. The false missing person report on social media, it's all documented. Are you trying to threaten us? Brandon growled. This isn't a threat, the lawyer replied. These are the facts. We hope to handle this peacefully.
Her parents said nothing.
The house was silent, full of expensive furniture and cold air. Linda turned back one last time before stepping into the taxi. Her parents stood at the entrance, frozen. Emily wiped her tears with a fancy handkerchief. Brandon stared off into the distance, saying nothing. In 18 years, Linda said softly, have you ever truly seen me as part of this family? No one replied. Only the evening breeze answered her. The taxi began to drive away. Laura quietly held Linda's hand. This is the start of a new chapter, Linda. From the back seat window, Linda watched the large, beautiful house get smaller. It was filled with 18 years of memories, but also years of pretending. A place where she had been ignored and left out. Tears ran down her face. But they weren't tears of sadness. They were tears of freedom. She was finally taking her first step toward a new life. That night, Linda's story went viral. Rich family's missing daughter speaks out. The dark truth behind a perfect family. Teen reveals pain through social media post. TV stations asked for interviews. Newspapers wanted to hear more. Book publishers reached out. But Linda said no to all of them. She wasn't ready. She needed time to heal, to understand herself. Instead, she started a blog. She wrote honestly and from the heart. I'm no longer the one they tried to erase. This is the beginning of my story. For anyone tired of pretending to be part of a perfect family, you are not alone. St. Mary's High School was nothing like the private school Linda had gone to in Tampa. There were no fancy clothes or competition over expensive brands. Instead, there were friendly faces and kind words. On her first day, a girl named Emma walked up to her with a smile. You're new, right? Want to eat lunch together? Linda paused. It was such a kind offer, no strings attached. She wasn't used to kindness like that. Some students had seen her posts online, but no one asked her uncomfortable questions. One day at lunch, Emma handed Linda a copy of the school newspaper. Look at this, she said. The literary club is looking for writers. Linda was interested. She had always loved writing, but her parents had told her it was useless. Study business or law, they used to say. You should try, Emma encouraged. I think you're really good at it. So Linda started writing. First, she wrote short journal-style pieces. Then she moved on to stories and poems. As she poured her feelings into words, she started to feel lighter, like a weight was slowly lifting. Her first short story appeared in the school newspaper. It was called The Voice of the Erased Girl. It told the story of a girl ignored by her family, even falsely reported as missing. Though written as fiction, the story was based on Linda's real life. It got more attention than anyone expected. The girl in the story had grown up invisible, quiet behind the mask of a perfect family. But one day, she spoke up and told the truth. And by doing so, she erased the false label of missing. "Linda, this is an amazing piece," said her literature teacher, Miss Stephen. "Your words have soul." The story didn't stay within the school. It spread to local newspapers, was suggested for awards, and got shared online. Then, surprising messages started to come in. An email from her mother, Emily. "I read it. For the first time, I think I understand the pain we caused. Your words opened my eyes." A message from her sister, Betty. "I never really thought about how you felt. We were so busy trying to be perfect, we forgot what really matters. I'm sorry." And a letter from her brother, Austin. "We acted like we didn't see what was happening. That was our biggest mistake. Your bravery showed the truth." Linda's story touched people she never thought would listen. Then one day her phone rang. The caller ID was unknown. She answered. "Hello, is this Linda?" asked a calm woman's voice. "I'm your father's sister, your Aunt Olivia," said the woman. Linda gasped. It was the aunt who appeared in just one old family photo, the one people said had been pushed out of the family 21 years ago. "I was erased from the family," Olivia said. "I didn't fit the image of a perfect family." No one back then had the courage to speak up. Talking to Olivia helped Linda see things differently. The Smith family had a habit of cutting people out, a pattern passed down for years. Olivia's voice was full of old hurt. "I wanted to be an artist," she said, "but our parents said that wasn't good enough for the family's reputation. Your father didn't support me either. In the end, it looked like I just ran away." Linda wrote down everything with shaking hands. The family's history felt like a chain, unseen but strong, binding those who tried to be different. Later, Linda got news from the state's Young Writers Contest. "Mizu Linda Smith, your story, The Erased Ones. The truth behind a false missing person report has won first prize in the high school category." She hugged her grandmother in joy. Her story was also printed in the local newspaper. Then something unexpected happened. Her father, Brandon, sent an email. "Congratulations. We didn't see your talent, not because we couldn't, but because we chose not to. We were stuck in the Smith family tradition. We ignored Olivia. We ignored you. We thought being perfect was more important. But now I see what we lost. Olivia and then you." Her mother also sent a long email. "I read your article every day. We tried to erase you with a lie that you were missing. That was my lowest moment as a mother. I don't expect your forgiveness, but your words have reached us." Linda didn't reply. It didn't feel like the right time. Instead, she began writing a new book, The Genealogy of the Erased, a story of 3 generations of people pushed out of the Smith family. It included Aunt Olivia's dream to be a painter and Linda's own journey. Each time she wrote, it felt like a heavy weight was lifted. Words helped set her free. One day, while they were in the garden, her grandmother said, "You're the first in our family to speak up. Do you know how much hope you've given?" Her voice had made a difference. Then one day, her parents came to visit her grandmother's house. "We want to talk," her father said, his voice softer than ever before. Linda looked at her grandmother, who gave a small nod. "We've been foolish," her mother said, her voice shaking. "We never really saw you for who you are. And we hurt you in the worst way. Why did you lie and say I was missing?" Linda finally asked the question she had held in her heart for so long. "It was shameful," her father replied. "We were scared of ruining the image of our perfect family. But in the end, we made terrible choices." Linda stayed silent and listened. "We're not asking you to forgive us," her mother added. "But we now see how wrong we were, not just about your talent, but about you as a person. We want to admit that." Linda didn't accept their apology, not yet. It still felt too soon. But something inside her had started to shift. She no longer needed her parents' approval. She didn't have to live up to their expectations anymore. She had her own story to live. When spring came, Linda stood in her grandmother's garden holding a college acceptance letter. She had been accepted into a top creative writing program at a state university. In the past, her parents would have strongly disagreed with her choice to study literature. But now, she was free to follow her own path. Life felt different. The flowers in the garden looked more beautiful than they had the year before. She didn't hear much from her family anymore. Once in a while, her mother sent messages like, "I read your new book. I'm proud of you." Her father sent a birthday card, this time with warmer words than before. Her brother also reached out through texts. "Heard you won another award for your writing. That's amazing." Then, her sister sent an invitation. "If it's okay, maybe we can spend Augustina's together?" But these messages no longer disturbed her peace. Linda had found the strength to make her own choices, in her own time. Her story, The Voice of the Erased Girl, had become known across the country. It explored the harm caused by a family's broken love, the power of social media, and the extreme lie that she had gone missing. Her story connected with many people. Even TV stations reached out, asking for interviews. "Your story is giving courage to other young people," one of the messages said. But Linda wasn't ready for the spotlight yet. She just wanted to keep writing her truth. As graduation neared, she wrote a letter to her grandmother. "Dear grandmother, a year has passed since the day you saved me. I've learned so much. I now understand that family isn't always about blood. That real love doesn't come with conditions. And most importantly, I've learned that I have value. When my parents said I was missing, that lie helped me find my true self. It gave me the strength to speak my truth. There will still be hard times ahead, but I'm no longer afraid.
I finally found out who I really am.
With all my love, Linda." The soft spring sunlight lit up the flowers in the garden. Now, she could live her life her own way, free, no longer hidden or silenced by anyone. Most importantly, she could share her story. And that was her biggest victory.